And the one that really struck me the most was when he talks about, setting up job centers across the country where people who are unemployed could go there, register, so the country has at least an idea of what the situation is, the gap. Because remember, when he was asked by journalists, he was very frank, saying that he doesn't have the data on the persons or graduates who are unemployed, and it was a very sad situation to paint there. When you were watching, what was going through your mind, Mr. Kopon?
Job
about
centers.
some of the things he talked about. I mean, there were some that he said at the end of 2016. It made sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I've been passionate about job centers, but I haven't seen them.
Sure.
That's my worry, because if you remember the story of the Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe, at a point, Okonkwo had been banished to his motherland.
Yes.
And he said that long, painful days are worse than death.
Sure.
When people have completed their education,
sure,
and they have come into the world of work and they cannot find jobs, it's a sad situation. But I don't think there are any, I haven't seen any job center
sure,
established. And apart from that, for the past 3 years, employment into the public sector has been frozen.
Sure.
Because of the doom-sub situation, private industries are not growing. So in a way, there are no avenues. Even if you go and register at a center, assuming the center is there are no jobs. So
yeah, but at least it gives the government an idea of what the data is.
Yes.
Because it's important that you have a data and see how bad it is. Because, I mean, if you watch what's happening in South Africa, where the people are agitated because they don't have jobs and it's deteriorating, protests here and there. And when it happens, in South Africa, it gets really, really bad.
Yes. But my point is that, yes, I haven't seen the centers established, but if they have been established, it's like infrastructure. Build a hospital, build a road, build everything. But if you don't create the avenue for people to find jobs, then what have you done?
Okay.
How are they going to survive? At the end of the day, they need an income to survive. Okay. So yes, if you have set up the centers, the statistics are there. So what?
Okay.
So we should go further than just setting up the centers and having the statistics of the unemployed. We should create avenues for people to find jobs.
Okay. Dr. Yonimbuati, you, what of the presentation struck you the most?
I think one is very known, the 200 senior high schools.
Which he mentioned.
Which, after 3 years of the promise, I don't know the number now, is it 18 or so, that has been completed out of the...
No, four. Four has been commissioned.
That has been
123 under construction, or near completion.
So in that case, then I'll measure the president on that note on 4 divided by 200.
200.
Multiplied by 100. And that is the percentage of success that he has had in that regard.
Okay.
That's 2%.
Yes.
2%.
Is it 2%?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Is that not? Yeah.
Yes. The next is expanding infrastructure. I think credit should be given to the current administration.
Sure.
Infrastructure has somehow been expanded. The almighty Kumasi-Accra road, which caused so many accidents and delays and caused a lot to the economy, has now been put in a slightly better shape.
Condition, yeah.
There's been a lot of initiation of or initiatives on construction of roads, but it's still, in my opinion, not good enough.
Sure.
So, and the next thing that bothers me that much is necessary teaching and learning, which I talked about initially. The economy seem to be rather worsening.
He said it will build a strong and resilient economy.
I don't see that at the moment. So I don't have figures to prove this, so I'm not going to measure it quantitatively. But we look at all this, I think the State of the Nation address, which you shorten it as SONA, isn't it?
Yes,
SONA. It's a very nice name. It's more or less, it's not only to President Mahama, it's become what I'll call TONA.
Talk of the nation.
Talk only, okay. No action.
Oh my no.
Because we only talk. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So the SONA...
You just commended the government for the infrastructure. He said it, he's done it.
Yeah, some of them the government have done.
So it cannot be talk
but
only,
if we are,
no action.
We are looking at the bigger picture.
In total sum.
And more so, I think the government come in with so many promises. And that is why they are unable to fulfill any promise.
Because they are held by those
I don't
funds.
intend becoming a president in my lifetime.
You never
But
know.
if I were, then I would choose one or two. That will not mean forget about all others, but I'll give them priorities. For example, I will choose the energy and then choose education. Once this is built really very well, then the next government can also choose, say, healthcare and move to the next one.
Okay.
So I think they promise too much. You cannot deliver it, and I think most of our
So
presidents.
would you rather want President Mahama, when he comes, works in Parliament, to focus on existing, whether infrastructure, existing statement he's made, and work at improving or fulfilling them, than to make new ones?
Thank you very much. If you haven't fulfilled it, and you continue promising or adding more, then the sauna is turning to toner.
Okay, all right then. For you, what struck you? For me, another thing that stood out, apart from the setting up the employment center, was another thing he said about motivating teachers to give of their best, and the fact that they hold them in high esteem. But, you know, fast forward to today, it doesn't look like there's motivation, because even the word motivation allowance has been taken away from them.
I think we've discussed the teacher motivation
Sure.
at the beginning of this program.
Yes.
And
But
I
what
think I
struck you?
like-
What struck you the most?
It struck me was that the infrastructure that he talked about. I mean, I believe me, you will travel across the country. Recently, I drove to Côte d'Ivoire,
Sure.
and I was impressed by the roads from Takoradi to Côte d'Ivoire. Those days, from Abidjan to the border was better than ours. Now we are far better.
Better than-
So certain things are being done. What you're saying is that it's not enough. On what I heard you saying was that let's bite what you can chew.
Yes.
When Norway, and I'm happy our president has been made the co-chair with the Norwegian president
For the
to
SDGs,
SDG.
yes.
When Norway found oil, the first thing that they did was to fix water. Now in Norway, you can turn on the tap and drink from the tap. In every corner, in every home. So bottled water is so expensive because in the hotels they tell you you can drink from the tap. If we had used the oil money in Ghana to at least fix the water in every home, the oil money to fix the water for 1 year, and that was a promise and was delivered, I would have said that we would have reduced hospital admission by 60%. Because most of the disease we have in the hospitals are waterborne and sanitation. So I think that we should take one, we should bite what you can chew and swallow. So if we bite a lot and we cannot chew, then people start measuring us. It's saying that 200 you delivered for, commission for, so what's the percentage? If you have said that this year, my concentration, I'll give every Ghanaian water. You took energy, I took water. So if we have water and we fix it, and I said hospital admissions have reduced, OPD attendance has reduced, because all the waterborne diseases have been fixed, or most of them have been fixed. Then you can take on another one. They said, and when you leave office, you know, whatever time that you leave office, somebody will measure you and say that at the time of Dr. whatever, your name, Ejeni Boateng, Dr. Ejeni Boateng's presidency, water in Ghana was fixed.
I'm not hoping to be one anyway.
No, we are hoping you'll be one because you have the solutions. You see, now we measure the major infrastructure development by what Kwame Nkrumah did. Yesterday we celebrated 50 years of his overthrow, and I'm wondering why we are not talking about him. Because the 7-year development plan of Kwame Nkrumah, if we even go back to it and use that one, we'll move
It would
forward.
take us forward 40 years.
NDPC has developed a document. How many of us have even read it to see that in the next so many years, this is how we want Ghana to be? How many of us have contributed to this agenda?
Okay.
The whole of Africa has an agenda. Ghana has an agenda and a target. So I think it's about time that we said this is what we want to do. Fix it, invest in it, solve it. So that when next time you come and give a State of the Nation address, I say, you said this. For 1 year, you've done it. So my appeal is that if water is an issue, right now water is going down. I mean, people have contaminated our water because we have allowed people to farm and galamsey, whatever they do, to kill our water bodies. Ghana is sitting on our water belt. It's so rich that you just tap into anywhere you can get water coming out of the country. Why can't we fix water? I can't just get it. This day of 2016, 25th February, people are still having issues with water, food. And when we went off to listen to that, we were talking about drainages. I don't know why Ghanaians enjoy their food by the gutters.
How?
In the night market, when they sell food, is by the gutters. In the daytime, look inside the gutter. This same gutter are where we fetch water to water plants. So I think that for health of our nation, the president should, I'm not being biased with health because I'm a doctor, but I'm saying that it affects development, and health is wealth. You create wealth by healthy people. That's why I'm happy on that. So I think that, yes, promises were made. Not all of them we knew for the beginning.
But some he's given himself to in 2016.
Oh, yes,
there were
yes,
some
yes.
that he was very emphatic about by the end of 2016.
I'm happy I'm happy actually.
Sure.
Some of the issues we have not addressed in the past are being addressed.
Sure.
So it is being heightened as if that nothing is happening, or maybe we have not done much. But we are not doing anything about it in the past.
Sure.
We're not doing anything about, I mean, the sugar factory that is coming up, for instance, in Commander.
Sure.
It's something that collapsed when we were kids. We used to drive through Cape Coast and Commander to Second D.
Sure.
And we knew something was happening. Match factory. So if these things, President will promise us that, oh, it's rubber. Look at the rubber plantation around the Western region. Huge. We started growing seedlings.
Okay.
Are we waiting for the trees to grow and we cut them for charcoal?
Sure.
Or going to use the latex to manufacture rubber?
Sure.
These are things that I would expect a new sauna. I'll still call it sauna. Though we are in sauna now because we are sweating. We have used the latex to manufacture something.
Sure.
There's so much that we can do. Firestone was here using that. Why can't you do it? Now, to end it, please. Yesterday, I went to my little boy. He's going for an excursion today, and went to the shop to buy something for his trip. And I picked up chocolates for him. And the chocolate was from Milo. They've had Milo, Milo, whatever they put. And he turned around and said, it is from Ghana. You know what? It's from South Africa.
No way.
We produce the best chocolate, the best cocoa,
sure.
And that chocolate by Milo is produced in South Africa. He said, Daddy, don't buy it. You want the local one. That 10-year-old boy was taking me. So it's about time that we started using our raw materials to benefit us.
Sure.
We have so much. We're just exporting them, and we're getting the chocolate imported. When you go to the shops, they sell imported chocolate.
Okay.
Ours are being sold in the street, in the sun.
I know.
Oh, my.
All right. I would have to say a very big thank you to Dr. Jehu Appiah.
That's right.
He's Executive Director for IPAS, and you're into reproductive health.
Reproductive health.
Reproductive health.
So
thank you.
Straight to reproductive health, forgive me.
Yeah, but he's a medical doctor, by the way,
Yeah,
medical
sure.
doctor, and you heard, and he's worked with the emergency and knows what the challenge there is like. Also, Dr. Ejenim Boateng, Ghana Telecom University College.
Technology University
College. Thank you very much as well for joining us this one. Mr. Edward Kwapong, HR perspective. Thank you. We've had an insightful discussion, but the discussion is still ongoing. I remember I mentioned that Martin will be at the other side of Parliament, where he'll be talking to guests who have walked in. I'm told that the suspended chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Paul Afoko, has walked in, and a few others will be talking. I think I've seen Mr. Amakufibua as well. So we'll definitely be having another set, who will be joining us to talk more, go into detail. I have the book here, so I'll keep making reference to it. And I'll also play back, some of the things President John Mahama said in 2013, 2014, 2015, we're in 2016, and then beyond. Stay with us here. You're live on TV3. It's our special coverage of New Day, coming to you from the Parliament House, home for our legislators. Keep tweeting at us, hashtag TV3 New Day, hashtag New Day Army. I have my second guest with me, and so we'll continue from where we left off. But I would want them to touch a bit more on security, and then what more we can expect from the president when he enters Parliament in, say, about an hour and a half. Already he's trending. The name Mahama is trending on. I'm expecting to see Sona 2016, JM Sona 2016 to trend as well. But right now it's his name that is trending on Twitter. So let me introduce my guest. I have the Dean, Studies and Research, the Institute of Local Government, Dr. Eric Osai. A very good morning to you, and welcome to our show this morning. Also, we have the Member of Parliament for Ablikma Central, Honorable Tete Chai, with us. Good morning to you and welcome. I want to start from you. You have sat through Parliament, to see this year on year. How do you prepare for a day like this? You're coming to listen to what the president would say, but how do you prepare yourself as a Member of Parliament?
Well, as members of Parliament, we represent the people.
Sure.
And as such, we have a duty to let our people know exactly what has transpired over the year. And the president's coming into Parliament is to bring to the fore some of the things that normally when it comes to loans that government use in executing projects, all those things emanate from Parliament. But after those things have been done, sometimes it becomes even difficult to recollect all the things that we have done over the year. And His Excellency the President coming into Parliament to enumerate some of the things that we've been able to achieve within the year, also in a way brings to the fore some of the things we've missed. So in a way, it enlightens we the members of Parliament as well.
Sure.
Because it's not all the things that government does that within the House.
Keep track of.
Exactly.
Okay. As a member of Parliament representing the National Democratic Congress, I mean, that's our president, but your government, right? When whatever he would say, right? We've spoken to people on the street what state of the nation means to them, and they tell you, you hear comments like, well, things are really tough. I don't know how will that affect me. I'm sure you get to hear that. Do you think in terms of education or what the state of the nation means has really gotten out to the people and your constituents as an example?
Yeah, this has been an annual ritual. We started this process in 1993.
Sure.
So at least we've gone through a decade, 2 decades. Yes, exactly. And as such, we are in a young democracy. A lot of things are being learned, and therefore it will be very difficult for every citizen to understand what is really
But how important is it for them to know why we do the State of the Nation?
It is very important. You see, as I rightly told you, as members of Parliament, some of us may lose track of some of the developmental projects that have gone on over the year. Okay, so even as Parliament, there is a need for us to recollect.
Okay.
Okay. So what about those who are not even in the House where the laws, where the loan agreements and other things are made? So for them, it's something that they need.
Okay.
We are in a global world. If you look at the country, you will not be everywhere.
Sure.
Okay. My constituents may see developmental activities occurring within the constituency,
Okay.
but they don't know what is happening elsewhere.
Okay.
Okay. Somebody throughout the whole year has not even moved a step out of his home.
Sure.
So it becomes very difficult
to
track what government is doing.
Okay, all right.
And by some of these things, people are able to know exactly what is.
And I'm happy you work in local government because you wanted to get to the very people that we're trying to affect, every single person, especially those who don't have access to. So how do you think in terms of education and understanding and psyching the people? Because you hear comments like, I hope he's going to reduce the electricity bill. I hope that, they can remove taxes and all of that. That education is key. It's important. How do we go about it?
Thank you very much.
And before we went to him, I was asking about the importance of getting the very people who are whose decision on whose behalf these decisions are taken interested. Does it even matter if we have them taking the decision on our behalf? Why should they bother?
It matters because you've sent people to Parliament to take decisions on your behalf. You've entrusted the management of the country into the hands of His Excellency the President, and you need to know what is happening at the national level. For us in local governance, we know that the Chief Executive will give you a session address on what is happening at the local level, but then you need the President to also tell you what is happening at the national level.
But by this, you mean the representative, the parliamentarians who are at
not the parliamentarians. The parliamentarians are there. They should be interested in the sessional address or in the address today.
Sure.
But citizens of Ghana must also be interested, because it is a day that gives them an opportunity to know what is happening at the national level. And interestingly, exactly a year ago, I think February 26th last year, the president came to the House.
26th, yes, and
26th, yes. The president came to the House and then gave us the state of the nation, the state of the Republic of Ghana. So today, he will just come in to also let us know what has transpired. And I believe on the 26th of February when he came, he made a lot of commitment.
Sure.
And for me as a person, I'm looking out to listen to the president on what is new. What has he been able to do between February and now, February 26th and now? And then especially, what difference should we expect from the economic policy statement his Minister of Finance presented and what he is coming to tell us today.
Okay. All right. Is it really good to always look for new information? How about working on the existing ones? Because I remember my earlier guest had put that question to them that yes, in a year, what can they do? Because it's just a continuation of what they have started. So if it's schools, has the infrastructure, for instance, schools, how many schools, for instance, have we been able to eliminate under trees? I hear is over 1,000 schools have been eliminated. How many of the 200 schools have been completed? So it's not really new information, or is it always good to look for new information?
You see, a State of a Nation address is expected to give us a status quo report on where we are as a nation.
Sure.
And the status quo report should give you what you've done,
Sure.
the challenges, and what is left to be done.
Sure.
So in the report, I expected him to conclude by giving us an indication of what he intends doing, so that come a year today, 2017, he can come in and then give us a feedback.
Okay.
And I'm sure that this year he's going to do two. He'll do this one and do the last
do the
one before we go into the elections.
Sure.
So basically, that's what I'm expecting.
All right, so Chai, you're with the government. Can you tell us on security, which areas in particular will the president be touching on? Before
Thank
I
you
put my
very
question
much.
to you, what I want to know about security.
Yeah, in terms of security, it's one area that under John Mahama, a lot of investments have been made. Previously, if you look at even the strength in terms of the numbers of the police force, it was very, very low. But within his first term in office, the police force have to a large extent been increased. We are still not up to the UN standards.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm very sure we could have done better, but for the economic challenges that we had as a country, it placed some form of limitation on recruitment. And I believe that that will be the shortfall. But in terms of motivation, in terms of equipment to facilitate the police work, I believe that His Excellency the President has scored very, very, very high marks.
Okay.
Currently, we are, as a country, we are raising security concerns. Yes, it is very good that we have to be security conscious. But in terms of the provision of equipment to enable the police do professional policing, I believe that the government has really, really, really performed very, very well. Today, police visibility is almost everywhere. It is our expectation that more equipments will be handed over to the police so that they can now move into our communities.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to actually come in here and ask about, yes, it was for I think around 24,000. They moved the police to 27. It's now just about 30,000.
Yeah.
Yes, the numbers have gone up.
Yeah.
You talk about infrastructure, equipment, for instance.
Yeah.
The vehicles that are given to them, whether it's the motor roller, the baton, the shields, and all of those are all physical. But then again, fighting crime has changed. So we're talking about how about training of the personnel themselves, intelligence. How about that kind of investment is what people want to see.
You see, Ghana, we are at a very strategic position in the sense that we perform other UN activities. Okay, and as a result, there is that technology transfer.
Okay.
Our police service have gained enormous training, and that is impacting positively in the way even they perform nowadays. Previously, if you compare maybe in the 80s, the attitude of our police force,
it wasn't force, now it's
exactly,
a service.
Exactly. And then you compare the police service as of today, you see some level of professionalism. Yes, there are still some bad nuts who are not willing to change with time, but with the sort of discipline that the hierarchy commands as of now, I believe that if we continue to educate, train,
okay. So as a citizen of this country, what would you want to hear the president talk about?
I want to hear the president dedicating more resources especially issues of accommodation to our police service is very, very important, because the security man who is taking care of your safety should be rest assured that his wife, children are also safe.
Okay.
His property is also safe. Okay. And after doing all this tedious job, you need a place to what? Rest.
Okay.
So I believe that that is one area that we need to focus to strengthen the capacity of our police service.
In terms of security, I mean, there's this subtle, it's not even subtle, it's deafening concern about the presence of the ex-detainees from Guantanamo Bay. And so people are likely, looking forward to hearing more so when the Foreign Affairs Minister went before Parliament, and you have the minority walk out and say, we were not satisfied with the information. So are you interested in hearing more on that? And then what more would you want to see President Mahama say about the state of our security at the moment?
Very well. I want the president to throw more light on the issues surrounding the two Guantanamo Bay's presence in Ghana, especially when Parliament or a section of Parliament is saying that they are not satisfied with the Minister of Foreign Affairs explanations to all of that. I would also expect the president to throw more light on what he intends doing, or the state of internal security and external security of the Republic of Ghana. Because last year when he appeared before Parliament, he indicated to Parliament that the police population ratio at the moment is 1 to 784. Which is getting closer to the UN standard of 1 to 500.
Yeah, let me just, it's here. It says the investment has resulted in the police population ratio of 1 is to 784.
784.
From 1 is to 1,100.
That's right.
In 2010.
So I want to hear more from the president, the efforts he's put in to get this number closer to the 1 to 500 for internal security. And then I want to hear from the president a clear distinction between security and intelligence. The intelligence feeds security with information to act. Security is the physical part of everything. If you over-resource security at the expense of intelligence, the system suffers. So I want to see a very good balance.
In this case, do you see that it's shifted? It's geared towards providing equipment. Let's give them vehicle. Do you see that less investment in the intelligence base of the skills?
I see more investment in the physical security than the intelligence bit. The intelligence bit is the BNIs, the national security, the military intelligence, etc. The unseen security part of it. So I would want to hear more from the president, that balancing. I would also want to hear more from the president by way of investing in external security to protect the territorial integrity of the Republic of Ghana. How are we resourcing our armed forces? How are we resourcing the research bureau of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to be able to gather better external intelligence to feed into our system? That I want to hear from the president.
But then is there also a lot of concentration on the police? Because, they engage the public on a day-to-day basis. And you have comments like, when it comes to the armed forces, for instance, okay, they've received some helicopters, I think about 4 of them or so. When it comes to them, they are not like the police, and they don't talk, so you don't get to hear about them. But from where you work, do you think that there's so much concentration on the Ghana Police Service?
I think there is a lot of concentration on them. There's a lot of concentration on them, but again, we are also doing some for the armed forces as well. But I think the balancing is more in favor of the police service, and there is a reason for that, because they are ultimately responsible for internal security. And when you look at the numbers, they are way more than the armed forces. But I'm calling for a very good balance.
How about the fire service? Because the fire service, one of the things that they recently high-rise buildings, and they came out to say that they should stop the high-rise because the ladder they have, the turntables, cannot go out to the 6th floor, and they need to buy, I think, platforms which could go, sometimes 36, 45 floors. And if we're building them and we don't have that, then when fire breaks, we will be in trouble. How about fire service?
We need to do a very good balance. It's not only the fire service, the Customs, Excise and Preventive Service, the Ghana Immigration, they also need to be resourced. So when we talk about internal security, it is not only about the police service, and that is the more reason why I want to hear my president talk more on those agencies, talk more on resourcing all the security agencies to promote effective internal security and balance it with external security, so that we can have a very good security system. But most importantly for me today should be how we balance our energies between intelligence and security.
Okay, all right. I see Martin with Cletus Avoka, and very soon he'll be talking to him as well to get a sense of, where his mind is at the moment. He's with the government, so he could probably tell us in terms of security, because he's a man who's also very much interested in the security of this country. So what should we expect? What has changed in the last year? Yeah, we've seen a lot of, vehicles, I think, about 2 years ago, almost about 1,000 vehicles given to the police. 200, a couple of weeks ago, about 200 vehicles were given to the security as well, which was supposed to be shared among them. And we saw that of the room that has been fixed, what's it called? A state of the art, kind of where security agencies can monitor some principal streets of the capital and see what is happening there. So yes, the fiscals is good, but what about the intelligence? We still have the Dean, Institute of Local Government Studies, Dr. Erica Osai, with us here. Also the Member of Parliament for Ablikuma Central. And then we've been joined by an MP who come from the region that I hail from, the Western region. He's a Member of Parliament for Kwesimintim, Honorable Jobe Duansa. Good morning and welcome to New Day.
Good morning.
All right, so there's a reason why I'm in black. I love black. I look good in black, and I thought black would be good for this. But I'm told the minority, they are in black for other reasons. Yes, I see a tad of, just a bit of a pinch of white in there. It looks nice, but why are you in black? Well, it could be your morning, your MP. It could be your morning, the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. That's it. Are those the two reasons?
Well, I am in black because I'm in black. And I'm in white as well.
Okay.
But eventually, maybe you might have to talk to the minority leader about the minority action.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what is the action? What should we expect in Parliament from the minority?
Well, I'm hearing from you that the minority is in black. We have not congregated yet, but since
I've seen a lot of them in
since
black.
I'm hearing from you, then you might have to ask the leadership.
Okay, all right. But today, State of the Nation address, you working, you're a Member of Parliament, and you've sat through it before. What are you expecting, or what does today mean to you?
Well, today means to me a day of an account, that the president is coming to give an account of his stewardship and also tell us the way forward, what he has in store for us. So that's the significance of the day, and he's going to do that in a glare. The public will be the witness as well as the people who represent the people.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the president last year made mention of, yes, he recounted how the energy problem has affected, students, production, people had, and he sort of could empathize. He empathized with them as well, and made that emphatic statement that I, John Dramani Mahama, will fix it. Some are saying there's some sort of stabilization in the system. The doom saw is marginally over, and when he was asked, he said, well, it will end in a not short while. Would he be wrong in saying that I, John Dramani Mahama, have fixed it?
well, there's been an improvement from the last time that he appeared before Parliament. But I don't know, fixing Dumso, I don't know how he was looking at it. But from where I sit, I think we got it wrong at a point, because the first time we talked about Dumso was when Professor Mills was the president.
Sure.
And he made us aware that the truth about Dumso was that there was a ship that has cut the gas supply from Nigeria. That's what he said.
Is it when they said that it was an act of God?
Act of God. That was the beginning
but
of Dumso.
But we moved on from
How did you move on? How did you move on? So what happened? Because that was not to do with the inadequacy.
Sure.
That it wasn't inadequate.
Sure.
It was adequate. And then the ship cut it. Then at a point, I heard some people saying that it is as a result of not being adequate that we don't have a capacity. And I said, since when? When did that happen? So it looks like the whole thing has been like some dream. Yes, like some dream, because it started like as a reality, which Professor Mills told us that it was as a result we have enough, but then a ship cut our gas supply. It got to a point, people were then telling us different stories.
Okay.
That it's a capacity. If Kufuor had added on, then I say, hey,
we have installed capacity.
But we were not having problems with Dumso before the so-called ship came in. We were not having any problem.
We've had that before.
Before, as a result of
yes.
Akosombo, that was it.
But we still have a problem as a result of Akosombo.
Thank you. But, so at what point, what was this Dumso about?
Because one of the reasons government said is they've stretched electricity to the remotest of places. The demand for electricity has gone up, and if you look at Ghana's population, 10%, increment means that we'll have to continue to add on. Those are reasons.
So we created our own problem after the act of God. Is that what we are saying?
Okay.
I think we have to do a dispassionate analysis about this. It's been too much of a propaganda.
Sure.
It is important that governments add on, but then the truth must always be told.
And what is the truth?
The truth, as I know, was that Professor Mills told us that there was a ship that cut the gas supply to this country, and that was the reason why we started doing so. Okay. So the rest of it then became more like a dream. What I know is that we didn't have money. It was a question of money. It's money that has gotten us to this stage.
Okay. So what would you want to hear?
Well, I want to. There's been an improvement, but I'm wondering whether it is not connected with the amount of money we are paying now. Okay. I'm wondering whether if you can detach the two. If you detach the two, we'll not go back to Dumso.
Okay.
Because
you mean to the IPPs? Or?
Yeah, because you look at what they are adding on, Power and all those things. They are adding on not with gas, but with very expensive fuel. Okay, so what I'm asking is, can we detach the two? Was it not a question of money? Was it not a situation that if government had pumped in money, wouldn't have got into a situation where we got to after the gas thing?
Okay.
Well, now let's see if we can detach it, because everyone now is talking about the price, the amount of money we are paying for electricity. It's a problem. The production sector is not doing well. The cost of living has gone up as a result of that. Let's see if it is true that it was just a question of capacity. We should detach the two and see where we'll get to.
Okay, then beyond energy, what else, especially, education and health is one area that President Mahama speaks proudly of, because he believes they've put in a lot of investment. You have hospitals coming up, you have schools, and we can see those fiscal structures. What more? But then again, the other arguments that people are raising is that let's improve the quality of our teachers. Those interventions aren't sustainable. Even you can't keep giving children school sandals for how long? For how many years are we going to do that? Yeah. So what would you want to hear? One, do you share that view? And what more would you want to see in terms of education?
I share a view that he's added on.
No, I asked about the training, quality of training. Yes.
Well, of course. I mean, when you look at the health sector, we have a lot to do about the health sector. Of course, every government adds on, and definitely the present government has also added on.
You like it? You're impressed?
Well, that is supposed to be the job of governments, though.
Okay.
Governments, we have all agreed at a point in the life of our country that the work of government is not to come and arrest us and put us into jail. So if government arrests us and puts us into jail, I'll talk about it. Okay. But if government is doing the work that it's supposed to do, then I'll look at whether in the midst of plenty, government has been able to do more, looking at what is available to government. But then what I will say is that government is doing its work.
Sure.
There are still room for improvement. We need the quality of life has not really improved, because about governance is all about the quality of life of the people. It is, if you add on, you build more schools and the quality will improve, or if you train good teachers the better way and it will improve, yes, then you are doing well. Okay. Adding on to education is good, but the quality must also be addressed. We still have problem with quality of education today.
Okay, right.
I was listening to some group of people who were looking at the research, and if we can, you have people who would be working maybe sometimes where in ministries and other places where they can't even appreciate our own history, then we have a problem.
How so?
Yeah?
How so? What was
Well, I don't know the quality. Maybe it's what goes into the content of education.
Okay, all right. Dr. Eric Odros-Osai, when it comes to education, what about it would you want President Mahama to tackle? What about it is pivotal that we cannot do without and we must take action?
I would want the president to talk out clearly about his interventions when it comes to primary education, secondary education, and tertiary education. That for me is very critical, because it seems to me that our interventions in the educational sector is also not balanced.
Okay.
I would also want the president to touch on a balancing between this arts education, science education, and technical education.
Okay.
Because as a nation, we need more science and technical educationers, technical people to develop this country. Okay. What are we doing about it? I also want the president to touch on privatization of tertiary education in Ghana. Is it doing any good to us? If it is not doing any good to us, how do we perfect the system? Because it looks as if the privatization is leading to the proliferation of a number of tertiary institutions in this country. And how are we coordinating the activities towards effective national human resource development for the benefit of Ghana?
Okay. This morning, one of the papers, Daily Express, carried a story where it talks about the Ministry of Education considering the use of the local language. And I've heard when we first, that idea was kicked, was first mooted, people kicked against it that you're going to teach our kids local language, whether it's ever, tree, whatever it is you want to teach them from the basic level, primary level. Then at what point do you introduce the English? What's your own thought on it, that the ministry is revisiting the use of the local language at the basic level?
It's very good, and that has been done, but we have to step up the effort. What we need to do as a country is to develop a second lingua franca as a nation, because at the moment we are doing it on community basis.
Sure.
So that if, for instance, I schooled in La, then I'm expected to learn only the Ghana language at the basic level.
Okay.
But I'm not going to grow up to work only within the Greater Accra region. I'm going to grow up to learn or work in other areas. So yes, it is good to promote it, but we should come up with a second national lingua franca that can help all of us. But it's good we start at the basic level, but we should balance it with English. But again, in doing that, we shouldn't forget about the fact that of all our borders, they are all francophone countries. Sure. I was in Rwanda recently. In Rwanda, from primary 1, they introduced French and English. So the average Rwandan can speak, write, and work in both languages. What about Ghana? If there's a challenge and somebody decides to cross to Cote d'Ivoire, it becomes a handicap for the person to work. Introducing local language is good, but we should also build on the English and one other foreign language that can help our people function.
I want to pick your thoughts on it as well, that the revisiting of that policy.
Yeah, research has shown that using the local language at the basis is very, very key to pupils actually learning other foreign languages. It is very pathetic that as a country we find it very difficult to express ourselves in our own language. If you go to countries like China, Japan, and so on and so forth, their language is supreme. Every child, every adult is able to speak the dialect. In Ghana, it seems the English language is taking over, and as such we are losing some of our cultural values. Okay, and a nation that does not have that cultural trait attached to what it does, there's no way you progress. Recently, when I quite remember when the Italian Prime Minister came to Parliament, if you listen to the address that he delivered, he made culture as the focal point in our socio-economic development. And gradually, Ghana as a country, we are losing that aspect of our life. And once that is gone, then we are also going to be compared to states like the United States. Okay, and I don't think as Africans we should move to that level.
Okay.
And that's the reason why we need a conscious effort to ensure that our local language, at least the child, after going through the school, should be able to speak fluently the mother tongue. And for me, it is very good. But my worry is the approach. Those that are going to handle it, in what forms are they going to, what the methodology that will enable the child to be able to assimilate the local language at the same time the English language. But research has shown that schools that use both languages, the children are able to learn faster.
Okay.